So, you know, I mean, that's the way I look at her. And because I don't have cable TV until last night, I haven't seen any of those. Yeah.
Have you seen the Saturday Night skit?
We can talk more. Again, my simple take on what I will say, and it's been tough. Because I teach Louisiana politics at LSU, I get a lot of phone calls about Louisiana. But this year, I'm just going to reveal this to you. I turned my ringer off on my phone because I'm not following Louisiana politics this year because the national election's so interesting, and I don't really know who's going to win in the open seat. And I don't even know who's running in the open seat in Northwest Louisiana. And I'm usually all about all that. And Kip Holden, I don't know. Mary Landrieu, I've seen some polls, she's looking good, but I don't know. And because this race is so interesting. And so I just tell people to email me, and if I can make up something before I bring it out, I will. But this race is so consuming to me, I can't look at Louisiana politics right now. I will talk about it for a little bit. How'd that ever stop us, right? Not knowing about something, I'm looking at enough teachers in the room to get that nod. So not knowing, not talking, those don't necessarily go together. But you want to talk about Louisiana just a little bit, or you want to talk more about it? I'll talk about Louisiana just a little bit, and then we can just kind of this. One thing I am and I thought about this before this election, pretty firm about in my beliefs about her, and the evidence I think is pretty firm, is that Louisiana's slow move to sort of from Democratic leaning to Republican leaning can be attributed in many ways to something connected to religion. Mississippi, Alabama were in 1992 the first George Bush's strongest states in the Union. Strongest states. Louisiana went for Clinton. Mississippi, Alabama have been voting for Republican senators for years. Louisiana never had one until 2000. So Louisiana was sort of slow to move to the. It was a competitive state in the South. It's not today. The question is, does McCain win by a little or a lot? And it's gotten closer in Louisiana, and you'd expect that. But wins by 5, 6, 7, 12. That's what you expect. Nobody's campaigning here. I hate to say that to all the people working hard for Obama, but he's not likely to win this state. So why do we move from a state that was one of only 2 or 3 during the 1990s that both parties concentrated on to a state that's sort of, this is a Republican state? I think the disproportionate, it happened before Katrina. The disproportionate number of evacuees, permanent evacuees that were normal Democratic voters, and most people translate that into African Americans from the city of New Orleans, as opposed to normal Republican voters. St. Bernard Parish was one of the most Republican parishes in the state, working class white Southern. I don't think it's there, but I don't think it's as dramatic as something that happened before Katrina. Something that happened before Katrina is at least superficially, and I'm in the business of superficial, at least superficially connected to religion. And that's the move of Catholic South Louisiana from being competitive to Republican. Catholic South Louisiana was the only part of one of the few parts of the Deep South, and it's probably a cultural thing. You saw more African Americans voting before the Civil Rights Act in a lot of other places and the like. And the cultural issues as defined by the Protestant church in the South weren't quite as resonant during the 1980s and 1990s. Those were swing parishes down there. But then the Catholic Church seemed to change. And the emphasis in the Catholic Church moved to abortion and gay issues. And those, I just got an email from a reporter that I'm supposed to explain. It's like, well, I got to go look this up. I'm not following Louisiana. But that Southwest Louisiana, Cajun Southwest Louisiana, is incredibly, I mean, it's incredibly Republican these days. White Cajun Southwest Louisiana. And you see the numbers. And then you ask people that go to Catholic churches in Cajun South Louisiana. And it's like, no, there's, if you know anybody who goes to churches in Cajun South Louisiana, they're not pushing the Democrats. You know, it's abortion and gay issues and things, and it's like, no, it's the political effect is the same as Baptist North Louisiana. In other words, what used to, Cajun South Louisiana used to be sort of mostly Republican, but a good chunk of minority Democrat white. The cultural issues wouldn't trump the economic issues. Do now. Do now. And if you look, I mean, at first you think, well, 2000, 2004, it was just because Bush was a neighbor and people he would, you know, but it's like, no. That doesn't account for all of that. The Catholic Church has become, you know, I'm not going to say become more partisan, it probably hasn't. It's just sort of clearly moved from being what was more sort of economic, poor people stuff, you know, all that stuff, to more cultural stuff. And unlike Thomas Frank, I'm not going to criticize that. I mean, it's like you used to emphasize poor people stuff and all that. Now you emphasize these cultural issues. You know, you emphasize abortion, and mainly abortion. You emphasize abortion and gay stuff, but abortion mainly. In the Catholic Church, I don't know. I mean, because I've revealed too many times I'm not a regular churchgoer, but the Catholic Church, I assume, you know, among church members, it's the sort of majority way of thinking is Republican because of the, I don't just assume, I ask people, and because of abortion. So I think the change in Louisiana, Katrina, yeah, a little bit, you know. But it's Cajun South Louisiana, you can see it in the numbers. I mean, you can see it in the numbers. And I think, yes, Don Cashew was elected, Charlie Melanson, like, I think the Republicans just hit nirvana right when there was a Democratic trend. I mean, Charlie Cook, who's one of my favorite people in the world, he's an analyst for NBC. He's from Shreveport, he knows Louisiana very well, comes down here all the time. And he always seems to get it right, you know. And he was talking to us 2 years ago, 2006. Republicans used to love him because he predicted all these big Republicans wins, and then they hated him in 2006 because he was the only one predicting a Democratic Senate, Democratic House. And they said he jumped the shark. It's like, well, no, he just is right about what he's saying. He was correct, you know. But he said, you know, it's funny in Louisiana. He said in 2006, 45 states are becoming more Democratic. They're not becoming Democratic, but I mean, even Texas, becoming more Democratic. 4 states aren't moving. 1 state becoming more Republican. And I think it's Catholics in South Louisiana that are doing that. And that's, again, superficially connected to religion. I think this is where, you know, the thoughtful Dr. Foster and the thoughtful Dr. Eubanks have it on me. But superficially, it's connected to religion. It's gotta be. Gotta be. The numbers show it's gotta be. So. Any other comments and stuff? Yeah.
Wayne, I like